Bring you this story now. The Gauteng government says the 6 disputed Soweto taxi routes and ranks will remain closed. That is despite rival taxi groups saying that they've reached an agreement to ensure peace. The showdown follows violence between the rival associations, Wata and Nanduwa, over the routes. eNCA's Malungelo Booi has been watching the protests or the strikes and the violence itself, while another of our reporters, Aviwe Mtila, is looking at the economic impact that this is likely to have. Welcome to you both. I want to start with you, Malu. Take us back to what was at the heart of the dispute between Wata and Nanduwa, and then we'll deal with where we are now.
Okay, so Tembegile, the problem dates back really to 2015, where both these associations are saying that they have a right to be on this route. They have a right to operate on this route. We've also seen, Tembegile, even the documents from government, and also there have been also court challenges of which both actually give these associations the right to operate on those routes. This has been going on for a while. In 2017, Ismail Vadi shut down these routes because of the violence, which he says puts the lives of hundreds of commuters who use these taxis at risk. He says he can't allow that to happen anymore.
Aviwe Mtila, the taxi industry, though largely informal or seen as informal work, rakes in millions, if not billions a year. So what are the rands and cents looking like now that we've got this closure of the routes? You've got commuters who are stranded, who cannot get to and from work or various other destinations.
Well, Temegile, it's hardly been a day since the strike has begun, and the economic impact of it is already palpable. We just returned from there just a few minutes ago, and I just want to go through a couple of numbers with you just to show you those rands and cents. For example, Nondwe, one of the taxi associations there, has about 420 taxis, with each taxi making about 800 rands per day. That amounts to the loss, with them not moving or them not going anywhere. That loss is around 336,000 just for today. You count that in a month, it's over 10 million. In the 3 months that the MEC wants it to be put down, it'll be over 30 million that they will lose if those taxis stand stagnant. For the other one, Wata, who has more taxis over there, they have 1,600 taxis with the same costs, similar costs in terms of one taxi making about 800 rand. If you calculate that, that's about 1.2 million just for today. And if you go on for those 3 months, it's about 115 million that they'll lose, that they will lose as an association. And it doesn't stop there. You see businesses around there, for example, street vendors. One saying that he's making hardly half what he makes on a normal day. So it's devastating for business, just not only for the taxis, but in and around those routes.
And Malungelo, very aware of the losses are the taxi associations themselves. They're saying they've been able to work out some sort of agreement, but Transport MEC Ismail Vadi still not budging. Do we know what they've agreed?
Well, this is what they're saying they will do, Temegile. They're saying that each of those associations will actually adhere to their operation permits. So the rules, if you're supposed to pick up people along the route, that's what you will do. You won't bind. So that's also one of the things that's been causing this this tension. And of course, they've also agreed, saying that they'll put down arms. There won't be any firearms that will be carried by taxi operators when they're doing their jobs. And I asked them this, that previously, you also agreed to the same thing. Why should the MEC give you a second chance? And they're saying that we are promising him because our livelihoods depend on this.
So why is the MEC not budging then? What is it going to take to convince him that Nanduwa and Wata are indeed finally committed to finding a lasting solution to the violence?
Look, Ismail Vadi has made it clear in his statement that he has received this agreement that they have signed. He wants to go through it. He wants also to hear representations from these two associates. They have got to convince him, Tembegile. As things stand, he's really not convinced because they've been here before and previously they've failed dismally. And I think he's also trying to teach them a lesson here because you can't have a situation where the lives of thousands of people are put at risk for what? For revenue. And that's what he's been saying that these taxi operators really don't care about the commuters.
Aviwe, there is, though, a group of people who will be smiling all the way to the bank here. I'm thinking of the bus operators around that area. People will then go use things such as the train service. But as a money man, you know this better than most. Our public transport system is simply not equipped, is it, to deal with that?
Temekile, funny enough, the majority of the people that I was speaking to on the ground, they say that they do not have alternatives in terms of using buses and trains. Their routes,
because those are expensive,
you know, and the routes that they use. In fact, now they're having to cough out more. One lady I spoke to there earlier said that she has to now take 3 different taxis to get to work, and she knocks off at around 7 o'clock. You understand, safety for women is an issue at this moment. She has to struggle again to get back. She can't use Taxify, for example. She says it's too expensive. Cooking, for example. One gentleman that I spoke to over there was actually waiting, and that gentleman had to resort to using Taxify to go to work. Another one turned around and actually went home. A security guard that I spoke to there saw him waiting. It seems like the communication is not clear enough to the community and the commuters, because that gentleman had to return work, and you see the knock-on effect, because those people have to get to work, and the work, for example, it can be a tough issue for employment.
All right, eNCA reporters Aviwe Mtila, Malungelo Booi, both of them working that taxi story out of Soweto. Nanduwa and Wata, the 2 taxi associations, constantly at war with each other. The Gauteng Transport MEC finally saying that he's going to shut down the controversial routes for a period of about 3 months. He has rejected, essentially, an offer, a truce that has been agreed by the 2 associations. We will continue to keep a close watch on that.